You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Dublin Comic Con, I choose you!
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my
Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Centre, this is Phoenix FM.
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
According to the Nerd Index, you should be upside down in a junior high toilet around the clock.
This is We'll do it live! Time goes in, time goes out. Never miscommunication. It's over 9,000!
My name is Foxy.
The balls are in there. Do a barrel roll. Don't face me, bro. It's a trap. I'm a fire in my labor. Time to do. Hey, Charlie, wake up. Oh, God, oh, man. Oh, my
Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd to Know Basis Show, airing on Phoenix 92.5 FM and all those wonderful places on the internet like Spotify and our personal website. I am Cian, and with me this week is...
Ahoy, it's Sarah.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Ahoy, ahoy.
We've got quite a lot to cover this week because in my house, as I imagine some of our listeners will have been listening now, because it's going out on a Saturday, we are in Dublin Comic Con prep, getting our costumes ready for the big competition. We will both be there this weekend, so we'll do a little bit of a preview and all that. You will be there in attendance as well, won't you, Dara?
I sure will be.
Exactly. We are a veteran of a few of them. We unfortunately don't have a panel this year, but we don't mind that. I'll be there with a newborn. There's always things to do. What's kind of been... Now, we've done episodes on this before, but what's kind of been your experience of Dublin Comic Con in the past, Dara?
It's always been a good time. I think it's weird. It went through phases. Like the last Comic Con we were at was very good. It was more kind of like what we would expect, but the one we did when things came back was very, very strange.
Pardon me for the sound effect there.
No.
Yeah. Well, what was strange about it?
It's just, it took a very long time for it to kind of come back after the pandemic. So I mean,
Yes.
now it's very much like the Comic Con that people would normally know, as far as like its scope, its scale, and vendors and stuff. Like, Great thing about it is this is sold out though. So I think it's the first time that I can recall that DCC rather has been sold out both days. So if you haven't got a ticket, folks, there's no more tickets.
Yeah, yeah. And as the lovely people at DCC have been warning you, be careful about buying from third parties and stuff, because the barcodes get checked once and then they can't be used again and all this kind of stuff. Like, obviously, if you want to go, it's great, but just be vigilant,
Exactly.
But I suppose before we kind of do anything else, we should talk about the big draw of this particular Comic-Con. So what is the big centerpiece thing that this August 2023 Dublin Comic-Con has?
Well, it's interesting because we're still in the middle of the writer's strike and the acting strike. So while it's mad, it's even at Comic-Con in San Diego, it was Jim Lee made a joke out of it where it's like finally Comic-Con comes back to comics. And that really seems to be the kind of case here, where a lot of the guests, while there are really good guests here, it's kind of Terminator related as well and Aliens related. We don't really know what they're going to be able to talk about. So the real draw
we kind of covered that last week.
Yeah, but the real draw for me here, I think, and I think for a lot of other people, is Veronica Taylor.
Yes, would you like to tell people listening at home maybe who Veronica Taylor is, if they don't know off the top of their heads?
Yeah, so she is the voice of Ash Ketchum from Pokemon.
Yes.
So, I mean, and then there's like a bunch of comic people here as well. So while the panels and appearances and, the big stuff that's done in the auditorium with some of the bigger guests might be strange, to say the very least. I think there will be a lot of quality content around voice actors for like anime cartoons and specifically Pokemon, because I mean Pokemon has just ended. The actual anime
That's right.
has actually ended. Yeah, exactly. So for me, I know that's one of the big draws that I'm going to definitely be checking out. We're checking out her panel. Probably we'll meet her, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm just going to cover some sort of like, I mean, you're absolutely right. Loads of my friends are excited for Veronica Taylor. I'm going to just cover some centerpiece things that
Absolutely,
might be like, which is that 3 of the actors from Terminator and Terminator 2 are all going to be appearing together. As far as I know, for the first time in years, because Linda Hamilton is quite shy about these kind of things, at least as far as I'm aware. So Linda Hamilton, Michael Biehn, and Robert Patrick, who are Sarah Connor, Kyle Reese, and the T-1000, will all be appearing together. And they've already kind of put up sort of warnings about, like, you know, to essentially be snappy in the queue if you're meeting Linda Hamilton. She seems to be sort of the centerpiece guest.
Yeah.
We also have, in a similar vein, Steve Downes and Jen Taylor, who are Master Chief and Cortana from the Halo series, respectively. They're doing a panel together. We will be going to meet Jen Taylor because she's also Princess Peach, which is lovely. Oh, wow. They had Mario last year, so nice little compliment there. Yeah, James Marsters, who's done it before. He's always a delight, from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Torchwood. I'm certainly very excited to hear Christina Chong talk from Star Trek Strange New Worlds, especially because last week we'll talk about it in detail next week, but last week the big musical episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds went out, and she's like of the cast, she's the one with a background in singing, so she absolutely did a great job with it. Certainly Brett, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who is the voice of Mickey Mouse and all the Disney things, so that's quite a grab there.
Current voice of Mickey Mouse. Current
voice, but still, the Disney mascot, like, you know, that's up there with Mario and all that, you know.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think so, no?
Well, yeah, but not him. Not against him specifically. Yeah. It's just, no, I don't know. It's like the current voice of Bugs Bunny. It's not the same for me personally, but I'll take your point.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't mind going to a panel and seeing him talk about things and do the voice and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, see, here's the thing.
Good part of the fun, you know.
Here's the thing. You probably will do the voice. So
I'd be amazed if he didn't.
Yeah, if nothing else, you'll get the voice. I'd say.
Yeah. And just to round out, we have Jennifer Blank Bine. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. From Dark Angel. We have Will Sliney. We have...
Do you know what he created?
No.
So he's an Irish comic book artist, and I've met him a bunch of times. He's a super nice guy. He created Mr. Moon Knight.
Oh, really? The one in the suit?
The one in the suit.
That's his, give that man all the awards. That is a genius idea.
Yep, that's his.
Okay, I'm glad, because he's one of the most prominent names on there. So I'm glad that he's kind of being pushed to the forefront, like, you know.
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, even though the writer's strike is there and, you know, the actor strike is there are some phenomenal comic book people who show up at these things.
Yes.
And it's sad because, like, I remember I ran into John Wagner a couple of years ago, and I was talking to him, and, like, nobody was there. Nobody knew who he was. And I'm like, this is really sad. Like, he created... by your silence, Kane, I'm going to take it as you don't know who he is.
I'm just listening.
He created Judge Dredd.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, say that name again. Sorry.
John Wagner.
John Wagner. Really? I thought that the creator of Judge Dredd was someone else. Was it not a collaboration?
Well, it was a collaboration, but he wrote the majority of Dredd's biggest appearance, including like I Caligula and stuff like that. So it's what I would say to anybody going to this Comic-Con, and maybe they're like, oh, it's kind of a bummer. Take it as an opportunity. Like, you'll still get to meet the actors and that kind of stuff, but maybe take it as an opportunity to go to...
Sorry, I don't mean... I thought Pat Mills was the creator of Judge Dredd.
There's 3 credited creators of Judge Dredd, but John Wagner is the main one.
Okay, all right, my apologies.
No, you're right. It is a collaboration, but he's He wrote the character for the majority of the time. He came up with a lot of the major stories. So
one of those kind of like guiding, like John Romita Senior. Type,
yeah, exactly,
like,
exactly. Yeah. He's kind of like the Stan Lee. Okay, I'll put it this way: he's the Stan Lee of 2000 and 2080.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
That's probably a better way to put it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and nobody knew who he was. Nobody was there with him. So I'd say to anybody who's gone to this Comic-Con, be like, look, go and meet the actors. Their panels, absolutely. Look, the Geek Ireland folks always do a phenomenal job on that. But maybe open your net a little bit. Go to the independent comic guys who are there. Go to the independent traders who are there.
That's always like a highlight for me. Just seeing
same for me.
Stuff up there. Yeah.
Same for me. And then, kind of, instead of going for things the way you normally do it, where you'd be like, I only want to see these people and then I'm leaving. Spend your time walking around the halls. Spend your time actually connecting with people as well. Because that's what this is actually all about. I think it's a massive opportunity, an opportunity we don't normally get because it is so guest heavy. Sometimes you're like, oh my God, I need to see this person.
A bit overwhelmed, yeah.
And you overwhelm everything, yeah. Or, Olivia's up doing a phenomenal talk with someone who's there and everyone goes there and you might miss something. Do it as an opportunity to be like, right, Linda Hamilton's not going to be able to talk about Terminator or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, what else is on? Or who haven't I had the opportunity to talk with yet? And that's what I'm going to do. I'm not really going to spend my time. Look, obviously, we're going to be there covering it for the show.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to spend my time running after guests to hear what they're talking about their breakfast, right?
Well, that's what I quite liked about, because you mentioned it earlier. The first Comic-Con back after COVID, like the main central guest was Kevin McNally, and like it had kind of only modest attendance.
Yeah, exactly.
But like it meant that you were actually kind of free to go up and talk to people that you wouldn't usually would, and you actually get like 2 or 3 minutes together. A bit more like MegaCon in Dublin's January. Yeah. Like I don't think that's going to be this, and I'm thrilled for the success. But it's funny, I was talking to a friend of mine who's one of the like kind of sponsored cosplayers, and she had a concern that because of both Terminator, Halo, and a massive kind of esports like centered stuff, that it's going to be very bro heavy in terms of attendance.
Might be.
You know what I mean? So it's interesting how every Comic-Con is different, even though the building and the essential structure is the same. Like,
look, that might be true. Doesn't really matter though. I mean, at the end of the day, like, girls don't like Terminator. That's a weird thing.
No, more in terms of like
esports.
The people who are attending, the costumes that'll be there. You know what I mean? Like some years it's very like Japan anime kind of feeling in terms of like the costumes and the events. Some years it's very Hollywoody. Some years it's very kind of like niche.
To that concern, right? To that concern. And that's actually a valid concern now that you've explained it to me. The thing about this is it's still nerd stuff, right?
Yes.
People who are gone are still nerds, right? So you're still going to be like, okay, or it's going to be an open space. And yeah, it's a bit more probably less niche, let's put it that way. And it is. Esports are a huge industry. But I mean, Ireland is full of esports, like the actual companies like Riot Games. I was literally walking past the Riot Games headquarters the other day. I didn't even realize it was there. I was like, oh my God, there it is. So like we are home to that industry. And from the one side of the point, it's kind of cool to be like, hey, yeah, we're able to host this thing as a technological achievement that is quite good. Like, think about it. To host an esports event, or even like a modest esports event, requires an awful lot of bandwidth and an awful lot of technical know-how. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. I would say to that person, listen, go in with an open mind yourself, and that will be reciprocal. And if it's not your thing, cool, don't go. Like, go to something else. But if you're looking for niche cons, and look, we've said this before, my favorite con is J-Con. I love it. My favorite one. Or KazukaCon down in Cork. They're anime ones. They're specifically for anime stuff. And look, every year DCC is going to have that. It's going to either walk a line that's going to go too niche or too mainstream, and they have become more mainstream. But again, even like I was in MCM in May in London, and I didn't go to any panels because it took me 8 hours a day to walk around the trading hall. So like at the end of the day, it all depends how you use it, right? Like I would be less concerned about what somebody else is doing and rather what you're going to do.
Yes.
So it's like, hey, look, even if it is bros going, you don't need to hang out with them. You know what I mean?
That's
You can go
true.
do something else. So I would say, look, it's always a good event that there's the consent thing is a big thing there. Security is always top notch. There's no concerns there because the folks always do a great job. But again, if you're worried about who's going to be there and who's not going to be there, at the end of the day, there's always sound people there and there's massive groups of people. So look, if esports isn't your thing, you can completely avoid the floor. You don't need to go to that floor.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, sorry, before we kind of move on, I just want to highlight the last three guests that gets mentioned. You probably know them from your comic book background.
Sure.
Franco Arolani.
Don't know them.
Have a Teen Titans background.
Oh yeah, I don't like Teen Titans.
Teen Titans Go is like the best show in our house. We love it.
Oh, that's fair.
That's fine. Gary Erskine and Babs Tarr. So
I know Babs Tarr. She's currently back. She did a bunch of Batgirl.
Oh yeah, and sure, she's Critical Role is like a niche in and of itself, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But actually, before we kind of do anything else, it might be worth, in case it's someone's first time going, who has a ticket, maybe they're listening to this. I know we air on a Saturday, but there's still Sunday.
There's still Sunday. That's it.
It's worth kind of giving a rundown of what DCC is actually like.
Sure.
So generally, good form is to queue early, especially if you've got not 7 a.m. Hold
on. I'm gonna, if we were professional, I'd put in a special sounder, be like, did special tips, but that's the best people are getting.
Maybe in the future you did.
Maybe in the future I did.
If you heard it and you're confused, that's why. But yeah, so because the queue, depending on the time of day, it does ebb and flow, but this is going to be sold out. So the queue does start near the convention center, but it goes all the way around the back. Yeah. So, if there's something you're very keen to see, give it a good hour or two's heads, especially if you're coming in a big costume or something, Yeah. On the ground floor, you've got that big open space. Lots of people kind of tend to get most of their pictures there. If you are coming in a big costume, I am coming dressed as Bowser, for example, you might get stuck there for photos. I love that, but maybe you don't. So just be aware of that. All the trade halls are kind of most of them are kind of on the ground floor. And then you have you can get photos on the Stranger Things couch or the Game of Thrones throne, all that jazz. All the sort of merchandise is on the ground floor in that first big room. Then on the first floor, you have the sort of for lack of a better term, the local panels, I suppose you'd call them. Not your Doug Jones type things, more the Geek Ireland and things like us. And you also have the Traders Hall, which is all the artists. If you want to get autographs signed, that's on the first floor. Second floor, I believe, is the quiet rooms, unless I'm mistaken. And usually some things there. And then the third floor is... and second floor is food. And then the third floor is usually access to the panels. Am I kind of getting anything wrong by the saying?
No, that's about right. Last time around, they did something weird where they kind of changed the format of the upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah.
But it actually kind of worked a little bit better near the end. It's just a bit of a difference. And that's why I'm saying if you're going into Artist Alley, which was the second floor last year, I think it'll probably be the same this year.
Yeah.
Just take your time to walk around.
Yeah.
It is a bit weird the way they've done it, but it makes a lot more sense. So if you haven't been there in a little while, you're going to have a sense of, that's a bit weird. But it is actually all on their website, which was down for a while, but now it's back up. And they actually have floor plans, so you can actually check it all out now, which I would advise.
Yeah, I found today the schedule was a bit laggy. I suspect everyone's trying to crash in all at once.
No, I just think
the schedule is up there and everything. So
they changed their website completely.
I know, because I was trying to apply for the costume competition. We got in, but they put up we had a bit of a tussle because for the last two they have done what's called a masquerade. And then they put up a post that said, you've only got one day to get your applications in for the costume competition. And it was the day they took their website down. So there was a bit of hysterics in this household. But we will be there. We'll be there on the Sunday. If you see a Mario family, that's us. So give us a wave and a cheer, because we haven't won a single costume yet. And my cousins came second, and I want to show them who's boss.
Exactly. I mean, look, the amount of effort you guys put in every year, it's I'm always so inspired, and then I forget about Comic-Con, and then it's Comic-Con. And this year's been even worse because like I'm going to like the States on Monday, and I'm just like, oh yeah, oh no, Comic-Con is this week, and yeah, that's kind of where my brain's been at. So I applaud you, Keen, even with 2 kids, one very small new kid.
Yes,
you guys still
the tiniest Mario you've ever seen.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't miss that, folks. Literally, baby Mario.
Yeah, and if according to plan, my wife will be Yoshi.
Amazing.
So you'll have literal baby Mario. My daughter will be Princess Peach. I'll be Bowser. It'll be hard to miss us. We just hope the costume holds up for the weekend. It's one of those dicey things where the costume competition is like 2-3 o'clock on the Sunday. But by that point, your costumes have been walking around in the heat for about a good 30 hours, and they might not make it to the stage, you know? Like our Bad Batch costumes were literally falling apart in the wings about to go on. We were being stapled in. Like, you know, so... But you know what? It's all part of the fun. And if you're going with a family, I can't stress enough, the quiet rooms are amazing. We've never had any hassle there whatsoever. I would also encourage you to bring snacks, because the waits on like even cans of Coke or pizza or whatever, they can eat like a half an hour out of your day, and then you have to find somewhere to sit and all that kind of stuff. So if you're coming in a group, bring snacks, some good. If you have a costume, find a way to put a bag in it. Just good cop on things. You'd hate to lose an hour or two to something like unforeseen like that, you know.
Also, tote bags. Bring a tote bag.
How come?
They're just, I didn't see the value of it. I didn't understand it. I did at MCM.
Yeah.
Bring a tote bag. Think about it. If you have one packed away, right, and you buy a bunch of stuff, I was going to use a different word, but I can't. And then you're like, oh, I have nowhere to put it. Magic tote bag. Boom.
No, that's good solid advice, because you could buy a nice bit of Lego or something and just be carrying it in your hands and all that.
Yeah, and or even if you get like an autograph or something.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. So one year my autographs nearly got eaten by the rain. If you're going to bring a little like A4 like old fashioned school paper slip thing or somewhere to put it, like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Speaking of autographs, actually, if you want to see someone, it'd be worth looking up the schedule and seeing when they're on the stage and when not.
Yes.
Because like you could waste a lot of time going up to the upstairs, looking, seeing if your person's there, going away, coming back, when, like, you know, that could very easily be avoided if you just checked like, oh, they're on the auditorium panel at 1 o'clock. So they're either going to be there before or after. Like, you know, especially if it's someone like Linda Hamilton or something. Like, check that and leave a lot of time, you know.
A little bit of prep is not a bad thing. Yeah. And I would say go and do this. Again, the website isn't incredible. It's not the best, I'll be honest with you. Like, you know, as an IT person.
Well, they kind of remade it this week, so it's still kind of being built by suspect.
That is not an excuse. Our website is better than this. And I am very picky with websites. But at the same time, I mean, it works, but the best thing to do other than the website, because it is very glitchy still. And lads, I will consult your website for free if you want. Let me know, but not a general offer. I mean DCC to fix it. But as of now, I would say, because the website is so kind of glitchy, their social media is always top notch. So,
I was going to say, as a counterpoint, anytime I've emailed them or gone to their Facebook, they've gotten back to me within an hour. They're on that side.
They are on that, and the payments and ticket process seems to work, but the actual website itself leaves a lot to be desired, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, hey guys, if you want, contact us. I will do it for free. I will fix it for free.
All right, well, sure, that was pretty thorough now. So we've actually got... Go on.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
We're awesome.
Yeah, of course. We've been doing this a few years. We've picked up a few things. So we've actually got 2 films we want to talk about as well this episode. I'll tell you what. Why don't you take the lead on yours first? I actually don't know anything about the film you saw. I actually misunderstood what it was when you told me. So what film have you seen this week?
So I went to go see the new Disney Pixar movie Elemental during the week. And it's a lovely, lovely movie. All about overcoming your differences and working together and that's basically what it's about.
Yeah, it's about a fire and like a drop of water learning to be friends or something, isn't it?
A bit more than that. So basically, it's about a city where all the different elements live together. And as you can probably imagine, fire doesn't like water. Water doesn't like dirt. Land doesn't like fire.
Right.
Basically, everything doesn't like fire. Fire are the social outcasts of this society.
Because there's no element they get along with, like.
Yeah, because they burn everything up.
Yeah.
Right. So the premise is it's a very heavy-handed allegory for different classes and races,
right?
In like early New York. That's basically what it kind of is. Where the fire guys are portrayed as like a mix between Italian and Irish.
And that's kind of the immigrant population. Like
they are literally the immigrant population. Yeah. And there's like different like T-shirts saying "Kiss me, I'm Fireish," and like the language is called Irish.
Okay, I like that.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty good. But yeah, it's pretty good. But basically, what happens is the parents of the main character Ember set up a shop, and it's a whole big thing. And they want to give the daughter. They want her to take over, basically, and it's a story you've seen 100 times before. It's literally nothing new, but it is quite good.
Say, when I saw the trailer for it, it looked like Inside Out mixed with Zootopia,
kind of, but about elements. And then the water guy basically ends up in the pipes, and he comes out and he's like, oh hey, falls in love with the girl. Turns out he's a city inspector, and you have to kind of save her family, shop, save the town, but then also they kind of fall in love, and it's about them trying to come to terms with being in love with each other because they fundamentally can't touch,
right?
And it's a whole thing that way, but like he's rich because he's water, and water's everywhere, and the whole city's built with water in mind. So look, the politics of it are kind of very heavy-handed, but it's a sweet movie. It has a good heart to it. It's not like in a force-fed kind of way. It's more just like, yeah, okay, right, we've seen a story 100 times before. It's basically like an Irish Italian person moves to America in the early 1900s and blah. This is very much the same thing, but it is handled in a very interesting way. The movie zips along. It's quite good. It looks beautiful as well. There's some really good shots in it, and Pixar have kind of struggled a fair bit in the past couple of years.
This is what I was going to ask, because I haven't really fallen in love with a Pixar movie since Soul.
I haven't seen Soul.
I think Soul is amazing. Definitely check that out. That's one of the top-notch Pixar ones.
Right.
Brave, I wasn't wild about, but maybe it's because I didn't see it in cinema. Although I didn't see Soul in cinema, so I don't know. But yeah, is Pixar struggling a bit now that the mainline Disney things have kind of stolen their style and their feel to it? Like,
actually, funny you mentioned that. There was an ad for Wish. Just a funny name, really, when you think about it. For Wish, which is the new Disney movie, and it seems like they're going back to what Disney is kind of known for, which is like proper animation rather than CGI, which is what Pixar is known for. So, kind of, sort of. I mean, I don't think Pixar has been actually able to make a movie that captures broad appeal or like can kind of tap in. Like, I mean, look,
like I like the Buzz Lightyear film, but it kind of
I liked it too. I liked it too, but people are only talking about it in negative ways. Soul, as you said, I haven't seen. People thought it was great. Didn't really move the needle that much, and I don't think Elemental's going to do the same. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good. It, like, from a technical standpoint, it's okay. There are some really good shots in it. The movie is nothing new, but it is one of the most expensive animated movies ever made.
What?
Yeah, it cost over 200 million. So
how come?
I have no idea. But what I will say is it has had I'm looking here, it has had quite a good return rate. It isn't a flop. But will it be a movie that people talk about in 3 years? No.
No, I haven't seen it, but just the concept seems a bit by the numbers Pixar like. Yeah,
it really was. And it was a sweet little movie. It had a really cool Up pre-movie short, which was really fun. With
nice.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I think that's more memorable long term than the movie. But if you're stuck for a movie to watch, here's a quick review. If you're stuck for a movie to watch, if you have kids and you want them to go see something that is kind of sweet with a decent message, go and see this.
Okay. No, it's no. I don't want to be down on it. 'Cause I haven't seen it. Like,
No, I mean what you said is true. Like it's basically like, and actually I'm looking here. It literally is a kind of throwback to 1970s movies like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Moonstruck, or Emily.
Okay, well that's
It was
quite
like
interesting.
2002. Yeah, because as I said, like it's basically an Irish Italian going into the WASP culture of America, right? That's what they're kind of playing off.
Okay, see now it sounds a bit more daring. I was kind of
It's not daring. It's been done 100 times, but it's
no,
it's
but
not done in a
a
bad
little
way.
bit of edge to it. That's all. Like because Pixar,
Yeah,
like
there's a
they
bit of
make
an
you
edge.
cry for a reason.
Yeah. And look, and I mean, the way they make you cry in this one is kind of like contrived,
Right.
but they do kind of just shine a spotlight on it.
Mm.
But the movie itself, if it had been like you've seen this movie before as like the ones I just mentioned, or any romantic comedy where there's someone from, a poor background or an immigrant background and they go into, high society or whatever. You've seen that movie hundreds of times, right?
Yeah.
But we were stuck for something to watch this week, and this was on, and it was this or Ninja Turtles, and I have no desire to view that movie or leave my house to go see it. But
Do I have bad news for you?
you did see it, so you see what I did there? I set you up for it.
No, I get what you mean. But before we move on to Ninja Turtles, this kind of gets at the heart of, I think Kev mentioned it a week or two ago, which is that if you're not 100% pushed to see Elemental, and it's going to be on Disney Plus in 3 months anyway,
Yeah.
like what's the drive,
Well, I mean, we were looking for something to watch in the cinema.
Yeah, but that could be a review for literally anything.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I if something else had been on that was better, I would have gone to see that.
So kind of a lukewarm, it's good, but not changing your life kind of review. Like,
no, look, I mean, it wasn't bad. I didn't walk out. I wasn't angry or upset. I was just like, yeah, it's grand.
Grand. Okay, well, do I have terrible news?
I love the way you're just like,
no, I'm just trying to kind of, because all your comments are very positive.
yeah, it's grand though.
Seem kind of blown away by it, and I'm just kind of trying to suss what the lay of the land is. Is this a recommendation or isn't it?
If it's on Disney Plus, absolutely go see it. If you have a bunch of kids or a kid, and you're like, hey, let's go see this new Pixar movie. There's nothing in it that will upset you. There's nothing in it that will make you angry. And there's nothing in it that will bore you. It's a very serviceable movie that is quite good. Is it an instant classic? Absolutely not. Is it a movie that you're going to talk about in 3 years? Absolutely not. But it's grand.
Okay. All right. That's fairly comprehensive. All right. Well, then I will tragically drag you onto my cinematic experience today, which is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I went into this having never seen anything to do with the Ninja Turtles. Have you kind of a background in them at all?
I love the Ninja Turtles.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up with them. One of my favorite games of all time is the Hyperstone Heist or Turtles in Time. Loved the animated series as a kid, still do. It's still phenomenal. The comics are pretty good, extremely violent, and you're also in a crossover with the Power Rangers, which is still very bizarre to think about over 20 years later.
That's because we were talking about this before the film, like, how in Britain they were called the Teenage Hero Turtles.
Yeah.
Like, if they crossed over with the Power Rangers, that's like the ultimate team up of things that I wasn't allowed to watch in my house.
Why weren't you allowed to watch them?
They were too violent, apparently.
But you married a Shao Kahn black belt.
Yes, but not when I was 6.
I know, but this is
oh, you're trying to find some sort of psychological
I'm trying to think how this lined
revenge thing.
It's like, well, screw you, mom and dad.
Now I'm gonna get karate in my life, but I'm not gonna do it.
Exactly.
That's for my wife and my podcaster friends to do.
There you go. I'm just
sit down.
You've surrounded yourself by it.
we get stuck in an alley being mugged. It's not my immediate concern.
Oh my god, I just think that's it's funny because like you've missed two massive pillars of
I know.
90s pop culture in those two things alone.
Oh, look, I made up for it. I did Pokemon, Digimon, and Yu-Gi-Oh!
That's fair.
You know, it's
That's
like...
fair. It's funny, all the violence in my primary school was because of Pokemon. There was no violence because
Oh, totally.
of... Yeah,
I'm
there was
sure
zero
that, like,
violence with anything
I'm
else.
sure more people got hurt pretending to be Rhydon than they were pretending to be like Michelangelo, you know?
No, they got mugged because of Pokemon cards and because Pokemon deals went bad. So they'd like just beat each other up for the cards.
But that's true to the game, isn't it? Because when you win a game in the Pokemon game, when you win against trainer, you get like $200 or something, don't you?
Yeah. Still, I mean, Pokemon's a bit more violent than that, This is something we should bring up for Veronica Taylor. How do you respond to what happened in the 90s?
But no, seriously. So you
had no preconceived notions at all.
No, exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Well, very well said. I just knew that it would kind of look Spider-Verse-y and that Seth Rogen was attached to a bit of an Invincible connection there.
Right.
But it's amazing. I'm sorry to break your heart, but it's one of my favorite films of this year. It's really, really good. I brought my 4-year-old and the 12 and 10-year-old who are staying with us, and all of them loved it for different reasons.
Okay.
Which is impressive in and of itself. The animation's gorgeous. Characters are great. They really feel like teenagers, but not in like an obnoxious "bro, let's slay" type way. They feel very earnest, and the stakes are very interesting because they're not up against Shredder is the bad guy. Is it usually? Is it? I get Shredder and Splinter mixed up.
I can't believe.
Oh, stop it. I've had this all day.
I can't believe this. This is unbelievable. Sorry, man.
Oh, stop it. I was getting told off by the boys as well about this.
Yeah, I can't believe... I can't believe this.
I don't know.
I know, but you should know this by, like...
Well, that's why I'm seeing the film. Leave me alone.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, that usual guy in the silver armor wasn't in it. It was
Shredder.
The stakes were interesting because it was more... Thank you. It was more centered around the fact that they spent their whole lives in the sewers, and Splinter, their stepdad, was kind of being overprotective of them. Yeah. And they had to kind of sneak out, and they wanted a normal life and all that kind of stuff. And like when the villains do kind of creep up, they are also kind of oozy mutants who... There's a bit of an X-Men twinge to it, actually, because they kind of feel rejected by society and they're lashing out. The Ninja Turtles just want to go to school and be part of it. So there's a very nice kind of emotional core to it where they just want to kind of be normal, and they finally get their like kind of their gear together and they go out because they want to help people, and they think helping people will be the way they'll be accepted. And who should be their first villain but their cousins? So there's a really nice kind of emotional core to it that I was expecting a dumb action movie with like one-liners, and instead the movie kind of got to my core a little bit. I thought it was really, really good, and there's lots of good jokes in it. It's really superb. It looks great. The soundtrack, both in terms of score and songs, is top-notch. I'm only speaking for myself. This is a fantastic way to get into the Ninja Turtles because it is superb. I really, really enjoyed it, and I care about Ninja Turtles now, even if I don't know all the facts.
I see.
You seem a bit distressed.
Hold on, I'm just having a look for 1 second.
Well, then while you're looking something up, I'll also say that the voice cast is...
yeah, I see. Okay, I mean, the only thing I know about this is they changed April O'Neil fundamentally, and that upsets me.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know the original April O'Neil, but this character works very well in this story.
No, they should have done that. Because April O'Neil is very specific.
Well, tell me about the original April O'Neil then.
Well, no, there's no point digging into it that much.
No, because I don't know. Like,
well, I mean, she's supposed to be like a news reporter that like all the turtles have a massive crush on, and that's like
that is in the film.
Is it in the film? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's because they're going out.
I thought they turned into a blogger or something.
No, not at all. They have a whole thing where they sneak out because they do regular, like, we'll call it shopping, but they're robbing stuff basically.
James Marsden's
when they're done, they kind of sneak off and see a film because they don't let any humans see them. So, like, while they're messing around on the roof, one of their ninja stars hits her in the bike helmet, and while she's yelling at them, someone steals her bike, and they feel bad, they get it back, and she's their kind of first point of contact with humanity. She's a student in the school, but like, she's also an aspiring journalist.
No, there you go. That's what. See, the thing with it is though, like, she's an established journalist.
I know, but this film, it kind of leans into the teenage stuff without being like overly cringy. Like, it feels like she is their connection to that world, and so it's kind of a like. For her, she has a story that, because she's I don't want to give away the whole film, but basically she had a chance to be like a journalist when she was younger and she messed it up, and this is her like big comeback thing because she's going to report on the Ninja Turtles and all that. And for them, the one with the blue glasses, Leonardo has a crush on her, but for all the turtles, she's their kind of gateway to humanity, so it's all kind of very wholesome and self-serving, you know.
So you don't know what the turtles rap is, do you?
The Go Ninja Go?
Yeah.
I know that just through pop culture osmosis. Yeah, that has a little cameo in the film as well.
Ah, very cool. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Look, I don't know anything about the Ninja Turtles, but a bit in the Spider-Verse vein, which is the trite comparison, I could tell that the filmmakers knew it inside and out, and they were being very careful to pick some things and do them very well, and not like throw in everything in the kitchen sink, you know?
Well, look, I would say if you haven't seen it yet already, but anyone who hasn't, watch the 1980s animated series. That's a lot better.
The original kind of show, like,
yeah, that's a lot more.
Don't say it's better without having seen the film. Like,
oh no, it's better.
I'm sure it's good, but better. Like, don't make any assumptions. Like, no, although I will say, actually, we're watching the original X-Men show from around that time in our house, and we are starting to enjoy that more than the films, even though the X-Men animated series is actually untouchable. I'm actually amazed. We're only 7 or 8 episodes in, and they are hitting all the famous things. Cable's turned up, like, you know, there's Magneto's there.
Have you seen the animated series? Like the Spider-Man animated series?
Not yet, no.
Oh, okay. So just to completely detract ourselves, right? So the X-Men animated series is actually part of an MAU, right? So a Marvel animated universe, which has the Avengers in it, like an Avengers show.
Right.
Iron Man, Hulk has his own show, Iron Man has his own show, and Spider-Man has his own show, and they all intersect with each other.
Oh, like the DC cartoons of the day.
Yeah, but it's funny because, like, so as I said, I'm going to Orlando on Monday, and in Islands of Adventure they have a Marvel land that is solely based on the MAU because that was part of the contract. So there's this like aging Marvel theme park basically, which is always updated, but because of the terms of the license with Disney, they can't update anything, so it's all just stuck in that. So that just makes me really happy. But that's just a random aside. But what I'm saying to you is, if you like the X-Men show, which I said hits all the beats, check out the Spider-Man series, which hits even more beats because it has Secret Wars and everything in it. Okay. And the Avengers show isn't great, but the Iron Man show is okay.
I remember seeing the intros for Spider-Man and Iron Man and thinking
the actual Hulk show that came out is the best out of all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's the best out of every one of them.
This is from that kind of time in the 90s when, like, you know, Ghostbusters had a show and Godzilla had a show and Men in Black had a show, and they were all pretty consistently good across the board, weren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. But I think that is a lost artifact, really, which is now on Disney Plus. You can actually see them all on Disney Plus, which is great. But I mean, look, if you like the X-Men show, absolutely at the very least give the Spider-Man one a go, because it actually has my favorite Spider-Man in it. Period.
Oh yeah.
James Barnes, yeah, he was Greg Brady in the Brady Bunch movie, but when I'm reading Spider-Man comics, that's who's in my head.
His name's James Barnes.
Yeah.
Have they not got him to play the Winter Soldier just out of convenience?
No, but he was in Edge of Spider-Verse as Spider-Man Noir. I was kind of disappointed with Into the Spider-Verse that they didn't actually use him, which they should have.
Wait, what's Edge of Spider-Verse?
Edge of the Spider-Verse. What's the new one called? Or any the Spider-Verse movies.
Are you talking about the ones that are in cinema, the Miles Morales ones?
Yeah, they should have just taken out Miles Morales, put him into it, and had him being the main character, and then killed off Miles Morales.
Oh, we're not getting into that again.
That's what I would have done.
But yes, the Mutant Mayhem is a solid recommendation. We really, really loved it. And
really?
I might even go see it again.
Really?
Yeah, we had a lovely time. It's
okay. I'll give it a watch.
It's one of those films that really we laughed, we got the action quota, it looks gorgeous, and we got a few feelings out of it, and
really?
Like I said, the four of us came home all liking different things about the film.
Okay.
So that's a pretty sturdy round table recommendation there across a huge age range,
So you're saying the thing that I haven't seen and made a judgment on was a bad idea?
Well, look, you'll probably see it, and with your Ninja Turtle encyclopedic knowledge, will say, "Oh, there's something better from 2001 or something," and that may be true. But as a first impression, it was really, really good.
Okay, I know.
Go on. Sorry.
Sorry. You know what I'd say as well. But you'd really like the games.
Okay. What console are they on?
Remember the one I gave you a couple of years ago?
Yes, I still have that. Yeah,
they're on that.
The kind of 2D kind of
they're all
scrolling.
Yeah, they're all from the Mega Drive and SNES era, but there are some good modern ones. But I just the music alone in Turtles in Time and the Hyperstone Heist, just amazing, fun game.
Okay,
really
I will
fun
take
game.
that solid recommendation then. Okay, well, before because I think we've got a little bit under 10 minutes left. I believe you've discovered a TV show that you were quite eager to talk about.
Yes. So for fans of the Wrestling Rewind, if you listened on Friday, my co-host Martin was like, "Hey, you should watch a show called Silicon Valley," and I didn't even know the show existed. But he's like, "You should watch it. You're in it," and I'm like, "What?" And so intrigued, I was like, "Okay." So I found it very difficult to find
Yeah, I remember we used to have a DVD set of it in Easton's that never sold, but I always heard good things about it.
Yeah, it's hard to find because it's a HBO series. So that means, most streaming services actually
kind of locked behind that paywall. Yeah,
correct. But it is actually on Sky, and now with Sky Go, you can watch it pretty much anywhere. So that's
right. Yeah, I noticed Westworld has started airing on one of the free domain Sky channels.
Exactly.
All that stuff starting to leak out.
So if you're watching, if you have Sky, like Sky TV, or if you have Now TV, that's how you can watch it. So I sat down and I was like, "Oh, I'll watch 1 or 2 episodes and see what it's like." I binged the show every night until last night to 6 a.m.
Oh my god! How many nights was that?
4 nights. So one season.
So what pulled you in then?
Well, it was 6 seasons, and I watched about 1 and a bit seasons every night. I've never seen. Okay, so there are certain movies that just kind of capture the vibe of something. There are certain TV shows that capture the vibe, something like Office Space. It's the same director, Michael Judd, who did Office Space, Idiocracy, Beavis and Butthead, and
No way, I had no idea.
Yeah, so he wrote and then directed. He wrote a lot of episodes, directed a lot of episodes, but it's his kind of idea. And TJ Miller's in it. I know TJ Miller is kind of a flashpoint or whatever, but he's in it and he's absolutely hilarious. So basically, it's a character drama around these group of friends / colleagues that build an app in Silicon Valley, and they start a tech startup, and it's just kind of about their journey through the literal insane world of Silicon Valley. Now, Martin said to me, he's like, look, I don't get a lot of the jokes in it. It's just really funny. So there are different ways to watch it. Like if you're not a tech person, if you don't work in tech or whatever, you don't, you can still enjoy it. Like Martin was my control, right? I worked in Silicon Valley. I work in tech. I've worked in a startup. I've experienced loads of parts. There's bits in that show that are so true to life. It's unbelievable. Me and Bryn worked together. I actually texted Bryn. I'd be like, you need to watch the show. I'm like, we've lived these experiences. We worked in the same company. And there's just bits in it where you're like, oh my God, I've been here. I've literally been here.
So, I mean, as a relative outsider, like, do you have any like kind of examples? Like,
I mean, there's one part, like, there's certain things I can't talk about because of NDAs and stuff, but like, my own experience. But like, when it comes to, like with sales and stuff, where like they're trying to build this crazy thing, and it's like you can't do it. Oh, but we sold it already. But you can't do it, Or like, there's a character Guilfoyle who may or may not just be me. It's just the way he kind of is with like people when it's a technical standpoint, or like some of the stuff he says. I'm just like, whoa, that's actually crazy. It's just such an act, or like, as an outsider again, like there was the extravagant offices and insanity that you hear from Silicon Valley that doesn't seem real, but it is real. I've never seen a show to capture that, because it's a cutting satire of these big American Silicon Valley companies that's so on point. You're like, whoa.
Well, that's kind of what Office Space did as well.
Exactly. It's very much true. It's by the same guy. Like it's in that lens where it's so burningly accurate that you're like, oh my God, this is real. I've been here, and I mean, that's what I latched onto, and it just made it really engrossing. And the thing about the characters is like, they all have their faults, but like the main guy, you hate him by the end of it. You absolutely cannot stand him. And there's a really good movie came out a couple of years ago. Now it is Google propaganda, like literally. It's the most propaganda movie I think I've ever seen for a tech company. It's called The Internship. Have you seen it?
Is that the Owen Wilson one?
That's the Owen Wilson one.
No,
yeah.
I was aware of it coming out, but I didn't. I just looked like another one of those like comedies,
Yeah, I have a very big soft spot for that movie, despite the fact my personal feelings about the company. It literally just kind of portrays Google in the best light possible, which I mean, fair, like it all takes place on the campus and stuff like that as well. But that movie seems to have been like the blueprint. So it's kind of like, the way in The Boys is like a perfect takedown of the superhero genre.
Yeah.
Like, not the comic books. The comic book is contrived nonsense. But the actual show, that's kind of what they've done here. They've taken The Internship and put it into like a boy's lens, where it takes all the bits from that, but then like really exposes them to like the daylight. Right. And it's just fantastic. It really is. It's and it's funny enough, one of the main characters in The Internship plays Big Head in Silicon Valley. So it's like, wow, they're even aware of what they're doing. It's just, I've never seen such an earnest TV show that like has a clear vision up to the 4th season, and then TJ Miller leaves and it kind of struggles a little bit, but still quite good. And then ends in a very unique way. It's a very satisfying experience. So don't binge it in like a week. That's probably a terrible idea. That's why I've been
don't do what Dara does.
Don't do what Dara does. That's a great advice. Thank you, King. Don't do what Dara does. Because binging the show in such a short space of time, 1, you don't sleep, and 2, you
well, that's just it. Like with BoJack Horseman, I'm like, I make an effort to go as slowly as possible, so you can kind of think it through all the, like, but
it's very engrossing. It's very engrossing, and it looks that like the jokes in it are quite good. There's a lot of swearing in it. There's a lot of like very unique language in it. It's weird. It feels like a show from a couple of years ago, but I mean, it makes sense because it's like during the tech bubble, basically the second tech bubble that we just come out of now. So like watching it now after the tech crash has happened,
it must seem a bit quaint.
It's a bit quaint, yeah, but it's also like, whoa, I was here when this was like this, and to see it now, it's just like, oh, okay, some of the jokes might be lost, but it's also a very, very good time capsule And from a technical standpoint, the actual technological jokes are hilarious because they're like properly accurate. So if you're into technology, if you work for a tech company and you're listening to this show, you need to watch it. It's phenomenally good. And
Well, you've kind of got to my question there, which is you said you watched with a control friend who didn't work in tech. Do you think this would appeal to someone outside of that sphere? Like, you know?
Oh no, look, Martin's awesome, and he's a great co-host and knows a lot about wrestling. He knows absolutely nothing about technology, zero. So, and he will say that he knows nothing about it. So, and he thought it was absolutely hilarious because at the end of the day, you can watch it. So yeah, that it's a ring endorsement based on that, and because he sold it to me on that, I was like, okay, it won't just be niche. Even if it was niche, I would still really enjoy it. But the real thing about this is it's not really, it's based in technology, blah, blah. No, it's a character-based comedy. And, putting them in this, like Office Space, for example, it's very much like that, or Idiocracy, where it's like shining a light on our modern culture and making a statement about it. But then also you have these characters whose journey you're following. And it's a very kind of human based experience as well, where like, not to give anything away, but like a lot of this guy's problems is he's such a not a nice person, word I want to put in, that if he just was, it would be fine. And he screws himself over again and again and again, and the whole time is because he just cannot let go. And it's just like, wow, this is actually really, really interesting, and it kind of makes you self-perspective a little bit as well. You have those introspective moments where you're like, whoa, okay. And it's rare you get something like that from a crude comedy that's on television,
Yeah. Well, actually, you timed that just perfectly because we are just out of time. In the 30 seconds we have left, is there anything you'd like to say before we wrap?
Yes. So, guys, if you're at DCC tomorrow when this is going out, please come over and say hey. We'll be there. Keen will be a hell of a lot easier to spot than me because I won't be cosplaying. But
well, this goes out on the Saturday, so you won't be there, unfortunately. You will have been there.
I will have been there, yes. So go over and spot Keen. And
it'll be easy to spot. I mean, unless there's a few Bowsers, which if there is, brilliant. Well, more the merrier.
I'll give him some cards so we can hand them out. And
just like the hand will come out the mouth or something.
Absolutely. Or the tail kind of trigger it where you pull the tail and one comes out. And that'd be cool. But again, if this is your first time checking out the show, thank you so much. Please go over to nerdtoknowmedia.com and get all the shows for free. I won't be here for 2 weeks, but we will have content.
Woo! All right. On that very positive note, thank you for listening. We'll be back next time with our rundown of how we found the event and all that. But until then, have a lovely week and we'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.